Waiver gems and trade block plays. Win today and plan for days. Waiver gems and trade block plays. Win today and plan for days. Waiver gems and trade block plays. Win today and plan for days.
Win your league, stack that bread, or start a boom and lose instead. Sunday Surefire, let's go.
Sunday Surefire. It's your host tonight, Aaron Downtown Brown. I got the co-host with me, Ethan Weaver.
Aaron, how we doing?
We're doing, my friend. We're doing. Got a live show tonight. Should be a pretty good episode. We have a couple milestones, couple fun episodes we have in our pocket coming up. So stay tuned to that, to all the listeners. But just a fun little episode. We kind of want to cover news around the league. Had a couple big trades. I know with your beloved Patriots. We'll talk that very shortly. But yeah, any just overall thoughts in the offseason so far before we dive right in?
It's always exciting when the rookies are out there for the first time, and then you have mandatory OTAs, mini camp starting right now. So it's nice to see the players back on the field. You start to kind of hear some rumors. The rumor mill is very active. So it's just nice to have the league year start on the 1st of June. A.J. Brown was finally able to become a Patriot. So that's great news for my Patriots, for Drake May, for that offense. I think it does wonders for the Patriots, just in terms of the way their offense is currently structured. It puts Romeo Doubs, I think, in a more comfortable position as a wide receiver 2. And then the Patriots have a bunch of wide receiver 3s and 4s to fill the voids after A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs. So I think it's wheels up for the Patriots, wheels up for Drake May. So that's what I am most excited about right now.
Agreed, man. Agreed. And that's exactly what we're going to talk tonight. Just news around the league. If you're tuning in at any time, feel free to drop us a live question. So we are live tonight on YouTube and Instagram. So any thoughts, dynasty trades, that can always be fun conversation. We can pivot that way as well. And we have some listener mailbag questions that we'll bring up a little later on. But I think you alluded to it first. Let's first chat A.J. Brown to the Pats. So Ethan, being a beloved Patriots fan, how about we dive into the, I guess, initial reactions, and then let's talk to the trade. As we know, Pats receive A.J. Brown, Philly gets a 28 first, 27 fifth. So I guess let's talk first reactions, and then we can talk our fun dynasty implications after that.
It's funny. It was almost such a foregone conclusion that A.J. Brown was going to become a Patriot. The only unknown was what it was going to cost, right? And I know the commish, Sunday Surefire's own, was very distraught about the compensation given to the Eagles. The commish wanted to play a little more hardball with the Eagles and keep the Patriots 28 first. But honestly speaking, you're getting what I think is an alpha receiver. I know he's getting up there in age. I know there's rumors about his knees not being ideal, but you're getting an alpha, one of the best receivers in the NFL, even if he is kind of on the downhill descent. But the Patriots have been so hit or miss, if not more miss, in the NFL drafts these days. Hold on, buddy.
Got a little friend joining us.
Yeah, still a friend.
What's this that here? Yeah, I guess as Ethan's taking care of Fido.
Hey, sorry about that. That was my son, actually.
Oh, it was your son. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I normally
picture, so I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I normally lock the door so that doesn't happen, but the kids are having trouble going to bed tonight.
Same thing. I mean, same thing happens to me too. So yeah.
Sorry for the quick interruption here, but so as I was saying, A.J. Brown, his compensation, I was hoping it would have been a second, but honestly, I'm not at all upset about the 28th first. I think it gives Drake May, this offense, the alpha wide receiver they needed, as I alluded to before. It puts the rest of the team, I think, in their positions that they should be in. Or Romeo Dobbs, the 2. You have Matt Collins, Kayshon Boutte, if he ever comes back and starts playing with a contract. Well, he's under contract, but he's not happy with it. And then you have obviously Pop Douglas and whatnot. So those guys are great wide receiver 3s and 4s. But the 28th first, the Patriots have been so their first round picks over the 10, 15 years. I mean, you're talking about, going way back, but Dominique easily. I mean, Sony Michel, you have Isaiah Wynn, you have Cole Strange, you have N'Keal Harry. I mean, these are just complete swings and misses, right? So the 28th first, it's hopefully going to be a back end first, right? I would rather just get a stud in AJ Brown for 2 to 3 years and know what I'm getting, right? It's like we're getting a good player, a player that's proven himself in the NFL, and you're essentially shifting risk from the pick, even though you are absorbing some risk, obviously, with AJ Brown and his knees and his age. But to be honest, I didn't think the compensation was that crazy. I want AJ Brown in the thing, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, I hear you. I know, like, initial thoughts trade wise, I think, as you said, if that's what it took in negotiations to get him in the building, was they wanted her first. And, maybe the negotiation was at 28. I'm actually not sure what all Pats are looking like with picks for 27. But if they didn't have to give up that 27 pick, I mean, it's 27th, I want to say. So, yeah, it's 2 years out. Yeah, to get an elite wide receiver. Yeah, I don't necessarily hate it. He is getting up there in age with, I think the dynasty degenerates are, we end up, almost sometimes caring about it more than the real NFL GM sometimes, because, if they're going to, the Pats were just, they made it to the Super Bowl, right? They're just one win away from taking it home. So, yeah, just getting elite weapons to give to Drake May. Don't hate it. But I think we are in agreement that is, if AJ can continue being elite for the next 2 to 3 years, I think you and Kamish want to see a full 3-year return on the investment there with AJ Brown. But yeah, so if you can get 3 good years out of him, I think it's a great trade all around as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy, honestly, with 2 2 elite years and a 1 good year. I know Kamish feels he needs the elite 3, but in terms of trade value in Dynasty, what do you think this does for his value? Do you think it increases it, the move from Philadelphia to New England?
I think it definitely increases it for sure. I know, like, AJ Brown was on the trade block a lot last year in season. And a lot of leagues I played in, I think his dynasty values dropped because, he was, he didn't really show that same connection in the offense or with Hurts. They have a little bit of turmoil, it sounds like, that you're finding out as well. So yeah, I think, like, the dynasty community was feeling that. And I mean, I myself traded him away too. And yeah, I think anytime you get excitement at all or a trade at any type of talented player on a new team, I think the value of the unknown will increase their value no matter what, because it's almost like, oh, I'm gonna I can see Drake May throwing 12 touchdowns to AJ Brown next year. Let me trade for him, right? So I think just the value of the unknown with these good, great players, if they don't care about the age, increases in value. So yeah, I definitely think he did. I guess, yeah. What do you think? And then, have you seen many AJ Brown trades recently, or what would you trade for or want to get out of him?
So I think if you are moving anything to get AJ Brown, I think you are getting a wide receiver 1. based on his DraftKings projections this year, right? So right now on DraftKings, his futures right now is over under is 1,124.5 yards and 7.5 touchdowns, right? So if you take that yardage and you take those touchdowns, so basically 1,125 yards, 8 touchdowns, and let's just take his, they don't have the futures out for his receptions yet. So let's just take it the average the last 2 years, which people think are slightly down year, like down years, I guess, for AJ Brown, but his average catches the last 2 years was 73. So you take 73 catches for 1,125 yards and 8 touchdowns. That puts him in half point PPR. It would have put him at wide receiver 8 last year behind Zay Flowers and in front of Devontae Adams. So I honestly think 73 receptions is a little light. I think he's going to eclipse 1,200 yards. And I mean, 8 touchdowns feels about right, but I could see him getting more. I mean, I don't want to be too biased here, but I think those are very achievable numbers. And if he achieves those numbers, he's going to be a wide receiver 1. So if you're a contender and maybe you want a little juice, those 27 firsts are very, very lucrative right now. I wouldn't want to give my 20. I personally wouldn't want to give my 27 first for AJ Brown just because of his age and kind of where he's at. You're essentially trading a 27 first for a dying asset in terms of dynasty managers, right? You're not, I mean, once he's 29, 30, his value is never going to be there. So I think you got to be a little cautious, but I just saw in one of our leagues, he got moved, I believe, for a mid to late 27 first. And if I have the depth, or if I have the depth and I can afford to lose AJ Brown, I would definitely make that deal rather easily. Move AJ Brown for pretty much any 27 first. Most likely it's going to be a later one because most people are going to hoard those early to mids like they're gold. But that's a move I would make. But I would be hesitant to move a 27 first, maybe a future first, or if you could. I don't know. I would never sell him for anything less than a first. I think at this point, I would rather just keep the production, especially obviously if you're win now. But obviously, in a vacuum, yeah, he's definitely worth, in my opinion, he's still worth a first round pick, a late first round pick, but still a first.
Yeah, I agree. I would say, take his perceived value, that we don't necessarily know yet. If you want to put him on the move, yeah, try to ask for a king's ransom, and then negotiate where you end up. I guess leaving in the coming to terms in the middle, right? So yeah, if it's a 27 first or maybe a first and another pick or another player, I try to squeeze more if you can. But yeah, I agree with it. But yeah, I think year one, AJ probably has a lot to prove too. So I think he's got a lot of motivation on a winning contender again. It's just, I think, just wheels up for him on as performance goes. So I think you got to ask for that as a return value.
100%. I think AJ Brown honestly is going to blow up. He always wanted to become a New England Patriot. When he got drafted to Tennessee. So with the year the Patriots drafted N'Keal Harry in the first round, AJ Brown thought the Patriots were going to press the button on him, and he was a lifelong Patriot fan. He actually was in tears when the Patriots did not draft him that night in the first round. Then obviously Tennessee drafts him, and the rest is history. AJ Brown always wanted to be a Patriot. He's finally a Patriot. He's reunited with Mike Vrabel. So I think that he's going to be very much motivated, and I think he has a lot to prove. It's going to be fun.
I agree. So yeah, we'll definitely, keep monitoring that. Or if you got any trade questions about, AJ Brown questions, we get them all the time on our Discord. Feel free to join us there. But let's move on here. Let's go. This is more of just a reaction. What are your thoughts type of situation where we had, I think the fantasy community had a little shock when we heard the news with the Josh Jacobs situation, where, I won't go into, too much legal details there, but, obviously, first reports coming out and, definitely scares fantasy owners, right? So we weren't sure if that means he was going to play or not. I guess, still a lot to learn over the situation, but, he has been released. No formal charges yet towards that domestic situation there. And he's back at OTAs today, right? So he's back practicing. So we'll definitely see how that story develops. But Ethan, I guess as a Josh Jacobs owner, I asked you, AJ Brown reaction, but what was your reaction just being a Josh Jacobs owner right away? And then we already looking for backup plans, and we'll talk that.
Yeah, first of all, obviously, if these claims are true, they were egregious acts, and he deserves everything that's coming to him, first and foremost. But these are alleged; these are not nothing is proven thus far. So, and right now, like you said, no criminal charges have been processed. He's back. He's like you said, he's back at mini camp. LaFleur said it's business as usual right now. I mean, these situations are always tough. Obviously, Jacobs denied these claims pretty wholeheartedly. But he was arrested on May 26th. He went to jail on the 27th. He was released from jail on the 27th, and essentially, the district attorney said it's too early to make a formal charging decision. Our office has requested additional investigation as there is reason to believe that additional evidence may exist that would impact whether criminal charges are appropriate and what charges would be issued. And the investigation remains open. So, I mean, by all accounts, it almost looks like Josh Jacobs is in the clear. He's back at camp doing his thing. No criminal charges yet. So it's tough. It's something definitely to monitor. And I mean, nobody knows the truth outside Josh Jacobs and the woman who made these accusations. So it's just a tough situation. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation. But just in a pure just fantasy football dynasty lens, obviously, it makes you very nervous for your Josh Jacobs shares. I have way too many Josh Jacobs shares right now. So my guess is if they conduct this investigation and no criminal charges are forthcoming, the league is probably still going to suspend him probably a couple games. But I think if no criminal charges are issued, I think that's the worst it's going to be. So then at that point, obviously Josh Jacobs managers, it's not going to be too much of an impact. But it's just an unfortunate story. Unfortunately, I feel like these kind of stories keep popping up every week of a different player getting charged with something. So obviously it's alleged. I mean, that's the key word. Nothing is proven at this point, but obviously a situation to monitor.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely, terrible to hear the news. So yeah, definitely a situation to monitor as you said. And then I know it's tough to chat and start talking dynasty right after it, but I think as you're monitoring the situation, your thoughts was like, oh, do I have a backup plan? And coincidentally, it actually did come just days after we talked Marshawn Lloyd as a potential sleeper this year. So does that make Marshawn Lloyd's stock go up? Are you running to the hills to trade for Lloyd as a backup if in your Jacobs leagues? What are your thoughts on Marshawn Lloyd?
I mean, obviously, when the news first broke and the accusations were, like I said, pretty egregious. So it did give you very much pause on Josh Jacobs' future in the NFL and for the Packers. So yeah, that was potentially the time probably to get the most out of Marshawn Lloyd right now, or even Chris Brooks. I know Chris Brooks was basically pulled off waivers in every single league I'm in, and but right now it's you're not getting much for either of those guys until more information comes with Josh Jacobs. But obviously, if you have those players, and you do have Josh Jacobs, you feel a little better because at least you have a contingency plan. But let's wait and see right now.
For sure. Yeah, we'll definitely keep monitoring it on the show, and I guess same thing. If there's any trade offers, I think we're even gonna talk a little bit of Marshawn Lloyd in a trade later on and a mailbag question too. So we'll bring him back up. I guess before we move on from the Packers, Christian Watson had a big payday. I know he's been our darling, preseason the last couple of years. I know we were pretty big on him, and it's like who to identify as a Green Bay Packers wide receiver. And it sounds like Green Bay did see what they like. I think as fantasy owners, we love to see him coming back, and as soon as he was healthy last year, he started putting up numbers right away. So, I guess thoughts on Christian Watson signing, and is the road starting to be a little bit more clear in that wide receiver room in Green Bay?
It's definitely more. It's definitely more clear. Obviously, there's a lot of vacated targets with Wicks and Romeo Doubs gone, but no, Christian Watson got the bag. It was first reported, I think, at 4 years, $110.5 million, which, I mean, you think of that like, wow, it's a lot of money, but it's a little more team friendly than originally thought. 4 for $92 million is what it ends up being, with $18 million in incentives, $31 million signing bonus, and he still has a year left on his other deal. So essentially, with incentives included, it's basically a 5 years for 116. So really not insane, considering what receivers are getting these days. And Christian Watson, I think, is one of the more talented receivers in the league if he can just stay healthy. His biggest issue is health. But I know I like Christian Watson. I was texting Kamish the other day, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about Christian Watson. He's like, yeah, I think one share is I'm happy with just having one share, obviously because he's so volatile. And then literally 3 weeks later, he ends up having 3 shares. He's been trading for him all over the place right now, just because he's been getting them. He's been getting them actually relatively cheap, which I'm pretty surprised. He went for almost nothing in the league I was in. I was very disappointed I didn't put an offer in, but good for Christian Watson. I mean, he was low key great last year for a guy coming off an ACL. I mean, he immediately went into the Packers offense and was the wide receiver 1 and looked crazy explosive. So if you're telling me a full year removed from an ACL with Dobbs and Wicks out of there, if you tell me Watson's going to be fully healthy, I would say he has a chance to be a back end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2. That's I think his ceiling outcome. Does he get there? I mean, probably not, just based on his injury history and how much the Packers distribute the football. But he's going to have his boom weeks. So definitely, great for Christian Watson managers. I mean, that gives you at least some insurance for the next few years.
For sure. Yeah, I love the signing. I love that they're going to stick with him. He definitely has that connection with Jordan Love. So, I think wheels up for Watson. I like Golden and Reed's future too. I mean, I think, they're all going to be interesting pieces to have, maybe in full points and best ball leagues and stuff. But I think, Watson demands, the target share. The other two can be exciting as well too. So, I guess the question is, how does Kraft come back, ready to go? After his injury, and is he
better?
Yeah, yeah. With Tucker Kraft, he was just going nuclear last year before that injury. But really, I think Kraft's the only one that can get in the way of Watson in that pecking order.
No, agree. I think it's gonna. If Tucker Kraft's healthy, I think he's probably the number 1 target. But Christian Watson, not too far distant. Second target, clearly the wide receiver 1 on the team. But just looking at crowdsourced data here, keep trade cut, I'll ask you a few of these these are the receivers that are ranked in front of Christian Watson on keep trade cut, and let me know who you would rather have, Christian Watson or this receiver. Christian Watson or Jordan Addison?
Watson.
Watson or Alec Pierce?
Watson.
Watson or KC Concepcion?
Watson again.
And this is where I think you're gonna pick this other guy, Rashee Rice or Christian Watson.
Yeah, well, that's a funny thing with him facing, contracts. You don't know if he's going to be a future Chief. Watson, he at least has a 3-year deal. But yeah, I mean, I think Rashee Rice is maybe where I would draw the line there.
It's kind of crazy.
but
Ca-
he's
the-
got definitely has the value right now.
No, and the thing is, like Watson right now is, and like I said, he's probably this data probably he's going to be trending upwards. But I mean, he's around some pretty good receivers. He's right now he's wide receiver 33, which I think is a little low. But I mean, they
Yeah.
have like a late 2026 first ranked ahead of Watson, which I'd move a late 2026 first in this class all day for Christian Watson. So no, just
For
interesting,
sure.
just interesting to see where the people have him right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely give up the 20 late 26 first for sure. But yes, let's move on from the Watson and the Packers here. Let me get this off the screen. And let's talk another wide receiver guy. I think another one that used to be one of
Oh
your
yeah.
darlings coming out of college. Yeah, had a lot of spikes with the Niners. But let's talk Brandon Ayuk. Very weird situation there. You know, I think they were giving him time. He signed that big contract, gave him time to heal. You know, stopped showing up and had a kind of just an odd situation with the organization and John Lynch. I know you know, really, you know, they've formally announced, yeah, he definitely will not be on the team, but there's been no movement at the same time. I think, you know, I'm not fully in the know over the full contract contract part of it, but I know, you know, the second he stopped coming out to practices, you know, it saved them a little bit money on that end. But June, I believe, saved more money. That's when some of the, you know, the Schefters of the world and them thought there'd be some movement. Still no movement. Lynch is looking for a trade, apparently still. Ayuk's been posting on his social media, you know, with Commanders hats, and you know, that's been the biggest link is joining his college quarterback with Jaden Daniels of Commanders, which I think everybody would hope for. But you know, I guess just, you know what, let's cut right to Ayuk's value right now in Dynasty where he stands today. How do you view Ayuk?
I mean, Ayuk right now, the way you want to acquire him, if you do, is just to have him as a toss in a bigger deal, right? That's the cheapest way you can get him. And like if you're close on a deal and you ask somebody to throw in their Brandon Ayuk, it's not going to hurt the deal, right? I mean, Brandon Ayuk, unfortunately, he just turned 28 in March. He hasn't played in 2 full years, essentially, due to injury, and then obviously sitting out last year. And it's like, it's kind of like just a modern day, just NFL unfortunate crash out by Brandon Ayuk. As you said, he posted obviously on Instagram with the Commanders hat, but then later followed that up with a video just bashing his current employer, the 49ers, essentially saying they don't know how to use them and whatnot. It was a rather odd video. And man, I loved Ayuk when he first came in the league, and he kind of broke onto the scene in 2023. Right, he had 1,342 yards and only 75 catches. Just massive efficiency at 7 touchdowns, and then 2024, 7 games hurt. And then obviously 2025, he sat out and essentially refused to play, ghosted the team, and honestly handled the situation, I mean, as bad as you could. And the 49ers, obviously, I mean, they have some culpability here too, but it's just an unfortunate situation. Clearly, Ayuk wants out. He wants to be a Commander. And the second if he does sign with the Commanders, and I mean, he's reunited with Daniels, in my opinion, he's right there with wide receiver 1 duties with McLaurin. I think McLaurin would edge him out just because obviously the familiarity and the fact that he's played the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I think Ayuk still has some left in the tank, but he's not like a spring chicken, right? He's going to be 28 this year, 29 the next, and you're probably right now you're not getting anything. I don't think straight up. I wouldn't give anything more than a third, right? I'd be comfortable giving a third, which is probably not going to get it done. Or, I mean, actually, in some cases, people like screw it. Just give me the 3rd round pick. I'd rather have the dart throw next year than deal with Brandon Ayuk, because unfortunately he is a decreasing asset, and his days of being an ascending asset are very much done.
Yeah, we had a comment. Someone you're very familiar with Mr. Ian Weaver, saying he needs an Ayuk Bounce back. Yeah, a lot of us do. But it's funny. Uh Last year midseason, I actually traded AJ Brown for Brandon Ayuk, hoping he would be, ready to go this season. Everything was gonna be actually I traded him when
was that just straight up, or I'm hoping you got something with
no,
your
no, no. I actually got a first too. No, I got a
okay,
first.
that
So
makes
luckily I
sense.
got a 27 first at my 27 first.
Ooh,
So I
wow.
like that part of it.
Massive winner over
Um
here.
yeah, yeah, no, I love that part, but now I'm a little wary over Brandon Ayuk. I mean, you start thinking, I start thinking, okay, Calvin Ridley, he didn't even have an injury, and he comes back after missing time, and he's not himself. He's not the old Calvin Ridley of old, but you take in the factor that Ayuk had an injury. He's not playing, and he's not really creating the best image for himself. Those aren't really lining up for him. It sounds funny, but you really do need to follow the whole social aspect of it because the NFL does sometimes have a way of, phasing out players that they don't want, noise in the locker room and things like that too. So, unfortunately, you do have to keep track of, their social interactions and I guess he's, driving 100, past the stadium, too. So he's got ticket going on too. So yeah, it's just a kind of a cloudy situation you gotta monitor, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, he's a hell of a player. I'm hoping he bounces back. I mean, I would love to see him with the Commanders, especially looking what they. It's almost like they reserved a spot for him. It's like he would fit in perfectly with the Commanders, which what you would love to see. But yeah, we just don't know. And then yeah, if he ends up with the Commanders, is he going to be the Brandon Ayuk of old? I mean, he's 28 years old as well. We've seen this story before, so yeah. Any thoughts? Any last thoughts here? Not trading for it. Mr. Ian Wheeler said, "I'm not trading for a third." Oh, okay, yeah,
So,
yeah. I
and
mean,
well, that's exactly what I said. There's like no Ayuk manager is going to probably sell for a third, but if I'm if I'm trying to acquire Ayuk, why would I give a second? I mean, so I know my brother there, Ian. He's it's hard to pry anything off his rosters, but but obviously, like if you're okay, just what I'm just, if I had Ayuk right now, I'd rather just sit on him and see if he signs for the Commanders. And the second he does sign for the Commanders, somebody's going to probably offer you potential a second, because right now on Keep Trade Cut, a 2026 early third is worth more than a Brandon Ayuk right now, who's sitting at wide receiver 92. He's basically left for dead right now. So I know my brother probably wants a first for his Ayuk shares, but it's not going to
happen. Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, I think the biggest market for Brandon Ayuk right now in the fantasy community is best ball, because he does drop so far. If he does somehow make it to the Commanders,
Oh yeah,
I'm willing
good
to
call.
take a Brandon Ayuk shot in best ball. Providing how late you can get him. But yeah, like talking Dynasty, that becomes a little bit more, foggy.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
it all depends when he signs with the Commanders, right? If the 49ers allow him to move on relatively soon and he can get into Commanders camp and he can go through the offseason program and he's there during the preseason, you have there's a much better odds and a much better chance that he's actually productive this year. But if you get to week one and he's still out there, you can just forget about it. Then 100%. Then the person that's holding out for a second should have sold for a third. Not mentioning any names here. Not mentioning any names.
Having a live trade discussion on live right now. I feel like the middleman because it's on Instagram and I got to read his comments and you guys are negotiating with me. That's hilarious. But yeah, no, we'll definitely another situation. It's always fun though to talk perceived value, before these moves happen, because obviously it's just like stocks. If you can get guys cheap when they're nothing at the moment, then big payouts for sure. But if you give up a little more too much to get these guys, it can really shoot your dynasty team in the foot for sure. Take a step back. But let's move on. You know, it's funny, you know, we plan to talk to some of these guys, but I didn't realize that most of them have all these, you know, domestic and, you know, court cases that they're going through and all this. But let's talk Stephon Diggs, you know, just leaving your beloved Patriots as well. He's dealing with a little bit of off the field issues as well. I think his sound appears to be that it'll
He
get cleared up in
he's
the
in the
off
he's
season.
completely in the clear. It was basically a complete fabrication by the individual who made claims against Stephon Diggs. So he's good to go.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's got a little bit of a backlash, but yeah, I don't see it being a problem at all. He should latch on to a team. The question is, you
Yeah.
know, which team he's been linked to. You know, my Chiefs, which we find ways to grab, you know, guys that are going through issues like that. But yeah, Chiefs, Ravens, to name a few. You know, I think he did show he had a lot of gas in the tank left. The Patriots. He wasn't as dominant as he used to be, but I guess let's just talk Diggs value. You know, are you trying to shop him? Are you trying to, you know, I guess obviously I think in most of our lenses we usually try to trade players like that away. But I guess, you know, on the other side of it, if you're win now, are you looking to maybe getting a cheap win now piece out of Diggs as well?
Yeah, and the allegations I was referring to is the one with his chef, right? That is that the ones you were
Right.
referring to? Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
by all accounts, that deal that's closed and he's good to go. But you know, Stephon Diggs, obviously in a vacuum, not really worth a ton in Dynasty considering his age. But I thought it was very impressive for him to come off an ACL injury and have over 1,000 yards in his first year with New England. Stephon Diggs, I think, can be a contributor to a contender, whether that's the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Commanders, if Ayuk is held in purgatory by the 49ers. So he's going to sign, or hey, maybe return to Buffalo, who knows? So he's going to sign with a good team, a contending team. So that's going to obviously increase his value. But at the end of the day, you're either if you're a rebuilder and Stephon Diggs is still on your team, you're selling him for pretty much anything, any future picks, any picks, whatever. Just get what you can for him. But if you're a contender and you want a little bit of extra depth, I mean, why not send a I mean, I don't know. I would be hard. I would definitely not send a 27 second, but I mean, maybe a 27 third, a 28 second, maybe, or, but I mean, the Diggs is a type of player that's these like lower end players are always tough to like basically trade for straight up because you don't want to give a second, right? You don't want to give future capital for a guy that's 31, 32 years old. So these are guys that you make a bigger deal and you have like, Diggs is the toss in, right? That's the best way to
Yeah.
acquire these players because whenever you seek
A
out a
piece.
player, peace, yeah. Whenever you seek out these like descending depreciating assets individually, it's always a higher cost because people want to get something tangible for them. And I know the leagues I play in, you offer a singular second or a singular third for any player, they almost laugh at you. Like
Yep.
the leagues I play in, and I think you can attest this. The second round picks are almost worthless until the rookie draft. Like you send a second for any player and everybody wants a first. Everybody wants a first. Everybody wants more. And it's, I mean, I see a lot of these podcasters talk about, oh, just offer a second. Like that's not getting any deal done in any of the leagues I'm in, except for obviously guys like Stephon Diggs. Yeah, sell for if you can get a second, obviously sell for any second. But I mean, if it's anybody of somewhat significance, yeah, you're gonna need to pay a lot more. So that always frustrates me when I hear these other podcasts talk about deals and I'll just send a singular second for like
Tell him.
RB2. I'm like, okay, that happens in the land of make believe, but
I agree. I mean, I think the only times usually what happens is you're fighting a second if you're already trading a draft pick as well. Like if it's maybe a third and you're hung up. You want a second because
Yeah,
you're sending a third,
a
or
third and
or maybe
digs for a
yeah,
second or something like that, right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the multiple piece action, like you
A
said, yeah, straight
piece.
up.
A piece.
Yeah, that's right. And a piece.
Gotta send the piece.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's tough to get straight up trades anymore. So it's also funny when we get asked this, like, hey, what would you trade? It's like, I don't know, send me your
Yeah.
offers. Let's look at it, because there's so many different combinations out there you can do. I mean, shoot, I have a three team trade, my annual 3-team trade that I try to cook up every year too. So I know
Yeah.
there's just so much out there you could do with.
Yeah, it's always tough with trades because it's all in a vacuum, right? It's all league specific. Like I say, like the only like obviously like I remember like the 2020 class future seconds for the 2020 class was very valuable. The 27 class, the 2027 second is worth a ton right now. So but people know the value, but typically classes aren't as hyped as the 27 class, right? So a future like I mean a future like first, let's say, I mean, we're going into whatever, a 28 second isn't really going to get you much right now because most people don't know what's in the 28 class. But I mean, we're obviously, that's why right now, 27 picks. I mean, now is probably the time to move some of these picks because the value, they're so lucrative right now. You can get studs that will help you score fantasy points and win championships this year. I mean, for those 27 seconds, for those 27 first. So it depends where you are, but I mean, it's always tough because it's always league specific. People are getting more and more dialed in Dynasty. They're becoming more stingy. It's not as easy to fleece your league mates here.
That's right. That's right. No, I agree. But actually, this is a great transition to bring up a couple of real life, other, mailbag questions that we had through our Discord. We'll kind of talk a little bit of those questions to end the show here. So I'll move off of this screen and we'll talk our first mailbag. And the overall question was just like, hey, what's Jalen Hurts' value in a super flex league? This was a super flex, I believe it was full point PPR super flex league. He had Jalen Hurts. A little bit of the details is his 3 quarterbacks were Drake May, Dak, and Hurts. So the question was, hey, are you starting Hurts? Or are you testing the waters? So Ethan, I know my response. I'll tell you. I'll respond there, but I'll leave it up to you first. Thinking, what's your situation? If you have Hurts and Superflex, are you pretty confident? Just sticking with them. Do you always like testing the waters, or what's your first stance on Jalen Hurts?
So this individual has Drake May and Dak Prescott.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love when my Dynasty Superflex team has 3 legit quarterbacks because it just gives you insulation. I mean, how it sucks when you're a contending team and you don't really have a third quarterback. Your team's humming and your Jalen Hurts share, your Dak Prescott goes down, right? And then you're scrambling, you're overpaying for a QB, and you essentially force you potentially to kind of go quote unquote all in by moving future capital potentially to get a third quarterback to supplement your injured one, and it just becomes tough. So I like having a locked and loaded third quarterback. Jalen Hurts is your third quarterback. You're in a very, very good position. It obviously, I don't know if it is this 4 point per passing touchdown league or 6. You probably don't know, but with Jalen Hurts, it does make a pretty big difference if you're starting Hurts or Dak Prescott, right?
Yeah.
So because obviously Drake May, he has the rushing ability too. So I mean, Jalen Hurts, I think he's very safe. He's quarterback 8 back-to-back years, obviously. And they were kind of down years, right? People were really down on Hurts, and now he just lost AJ Brown, but I don't know, maybe with AJ Brown, that toxicity out of the locker room, maybe Hurts can play a little looser. I still like Jalen Hurts. He's still young. He's still under contract. He has, I think, a high floor just with his rushing upside, especially near the goal line. I mean, he's right now in KTC's, he's quarterback 11. He's right behind Trevor Lawrence, and Jackson Dart, which I would take Jalen Hurts easily over Jackson Dart. Trevor Lawrence, I think it's a conversation. The quarterback directly behind him, I believe, is Bo Nix, which I think that's another conversation with Nix and Hurts. But I think Hurts, I guess you could test the waters, but I mean, can you down tier? Like, can you down tier to like a Brock Purdy plus, right? Can you down tier to, a Jordan Love plus, right? It's like if you're not, if you don't really need Hurts because you have May and Dak, I would see what I could get on top of these other quarterbacks that are ranked lower. That's what I would try to do. If straight up, I would still need 2 firsts. And I'm not saying 227 first or an early 27 first, but I mean, just looking at the 2027 quarterback class, it's supposedly really good. But right now, I mean, if I needed a quarterback, I'd easily move one early 27 first for Jalen Hurts. I'd rather put my eggs in the Jalen Hurts basket than take my chances with Arch Manning and company, which, and deal with that circus of trying to evaluate college quarterbacks, because that's always been a lock. So give me the proven production, give me the guy that's under contract, the guy that's been a perennial QB1. That's kind of how I view Jalen Hurts right now.
I agree with you. I think your first point saying 3 quarterbacks in a super flex league, makes you very comfortable, especially if you're a top team, if you're a competing league. I mean, if you're a perceived top 3 team in the league, I would say keep him because he's going to be so valuable. Overall, just getting those, steady points week to week. If you're viewing your team maybe mid-tier, or maybe you want to take a shot as the, productive struggle approach as well. Yeah, maybe that's where you might want to try down tiering. This owner also had, I'm losing my train of thought.
Have a stack or something.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to. He had another wide receiver, and I was like, okay, if you want to test the waters, maybe see how much return you can get on Hurts, but make it hurt, like make a hurt straight hurt, right? Like get a big play guy, try to see if Jamar Chase is on the board, and this is where I think it was Hurts and
I think I remember
Texans.
you talking about this.
Yeah, I was. I can't think of the Texans wide receiver right now for some reason.
Higgins or Nico or
Nico. Yeah. I was like, hey, try bundling Nico and Hurts. But Nico is actually pretty stud. Big stud. Still, can you get one of those elite wide receivers like Hurts and Nico for test the waters and see where it goes with a Puka or Chase or something like that, and see if you can really upgrade your wide receivers. But at the same time, I mean, he's only 1 year removed from QB2 as well. I think he is pretty safe. So unless you can really get a huge return back, I would probably, be pretty confident starting him.
Yeah, and that's why now is probably not the time to move Hurts. I would wait till in season when he's putting up fantasy points, hopefully elite fantasy points. And to your point, Nico and Hurts to upgrade it to Jamar Chase. I think that's, for some people, that's probably what it's going to take. But that is, in a super flex league, you're that's a hefty premium for Chase, considering Jalen Hurts is a QB1 and Nico has a chance to be a wide receiver 1. Even though I'm very down on Nico Collins, I would wait. I would wait in season when fantasy points are being scored and people want the points. So he's kind of I think a hold right now, just because his value is right now is steadily decreasing. But I think if the Eagles can come into this year, they can kind of rekindle things a little bit, and Jalen Hurts is consistently a top 5, top 8 quarterback, then I'd rather have him on my team or sell him then for a lot more than you can now.
Agreed. I think those in-season trades, there's not necessarily a reason to trade him right now on his decline, unless that player's a maybe an Eagles fan or something like that. But yeah, it's not really the right timing, as he just lost his top weapon. So
Yeah, and right now,
yeah,
like
it doesn't
I
hurt to
hate,
wait.
yeah, and I hate moving a quarterback without getting a quarterback in return. So that's why, like
Yes.
when I move Hurts, like give me Cam Ward plus, right? If some people are very high on Cam Ward right now, they think he's going to ascend, right? So can I get
Yeah.
Cam Ward, who's QB 16? Can I? On keep trade cut. Can I get something? What can I get on top of Cam Ward? What can I get on top of these? Even like a
Right.
Tyler Shuck, right? So a quarterback that maybe you believe in. What can I get on top of that? That's how I would move Jalen Hurts, because you already have the
Yeah.
safety. You already have the safety in Dak Prescott and Drake May. That's how I like to play Dynasty, because it's, if like, you can ask my brother. He has some pretty stacked teams, but his quarterback has always been an issue, and he's always had to overpay in the season to get a quarterback. And he's been swinging and missing on guys like Deshaun Watson and things like that over the past couple of years. So it sucks when you don't have a quarterback, because you need to pay a hefty premium, especially in season when people want fantasy points, to get that elite production. So it's
Right.
it's
Yeah,
always tough.
locked points. If you lock in your points, it's not too much of an issue. I mean, at the end of the day, does it matter if you have QB5, QB7? Is that really going to be, the difference maker on your team? Most likely not. You really got to keep evaluating your team. But yeah, I think Hurts is pretty safe. I don't panic that he lost AJ Brown for sure. But we'll move on to our last mailbag question here. And so, as I mentioned, yeah, Marshawn Lloyd's name has been brought up in this situation. This was a double running back trade. This is Katron Allen with Commanders, just got drafted. Marshawn Lloyd for Josh Downs. And Ethan, as you're thinking about it, I'll go ahead. I think I responded to this initially on the Discord, and I'm kind of smashing this trade for the Josh Downs side. I think Josh Downs, had a lot of upside. He had a little bit of crowded wide receiver room, and then he had the quarterback situation, a little bit of perceived drop in value, but he had a great, situation that, just Pittman moving to the Steelers, Pierce being, he's Pierce being paid, but at the same time, Josh Downs is competing with Pierce, who had under 50 catches last year. I mean, Pierce is a deep threat, right? Josh Downs is your PPR king. So to me, I would love Josh Downs in this trade. I mean, I I I wasn't so much a huge Josh Downs guy recently. I've liked him at times. I liked him in DFS at times, but um I don't mind Josh trades, especially in this trade. I would go with the Josh Down side, but I like his upside this year. He may end up commanding more targets than Alec Pierce as well. Whereas Pierce is not that heavy volume guy. But that's just my thoughts, Ethan. You've had a little bit of time to digest it. What's your thoughts on the trade question?
Yeah, I think this is Josh Downs rather easily, and I'm not a big Josh Downs proponent advocate either. But I mean, just look at the pieces, right? Katron Allen, 6th-round draft pick this year in a down running back class, and Katron Allen still falls to the 6th round, right? People are very high. Like what I noticed about the 2026 class, I feel like people have just completely thrown out, like, I've been completely irrational, I feel like, about draft capital, right? Like people are propping up these 3rd-round receivers like their 1st, 2nd-round receivers. Like these 5th, 6th-round running backs, they're propping up like their 3rd, 4th-round running backs. It's like they're not. We're talking about 3rd-round receivers. We're talking about 6th-round, 7th-round running backs in some cases. And it's like,
Right.
draft capital is a direct correlation to opportunity. A lot of Katron Allen, in my opinion, has a better chance of like being inactive on game days than putting up fantasy points this year on your fantasy team.
Right.
Like it is the way it is, right? So and I mean, obviously people are looking at the situation in Washington, and there's obviously opportunity if Katron Allen can work his way into the mix, would be behind White and Krosky Merritt, but he's still a 6th-round running back in a very, very poor 2026 NFL draft. And Marshawn Lloyd, a guy, 3rd-round draft capital, but never on the field and never healthy. And if Josh Jacobs is essentially acquitted of all charges, I mean, Marshawn Lloyd is going to be what Marshawn Lloyd has been, just a backup running back. Chris Brooks, I've seen places where he's listed as the RB2. So is Marshawn Lloyd even the backup? I think he would be. Obviously, they spent a 3rd-round pick on him. If he's healthy through training camp, through preseason, and he can prove himself, I think he's going to be in the mix for RB2 duties. But you're getting Josh Downs. Like, people can't quit Josh Downs, right? He's wide receiver 37 on a keep trade cut. I mean, he's in front of players like Kyle Monangai, DeAndre Swift, Michael Wilson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jaden Higgins, Jaden Reed, QJ, Pearsall, like RJ Hardy. All those guys I'd pretty much take over Josh Downs. So it's like, if you're telling me I can trade Katron Allen, Marshawn Lloyd for any of those players, sign me up. I don't think it can happen. But the fact that this question was asked means it was legit offer in a real dynasty league, which is surprising. But yeah, give me Josh Downs all day.
Yeah. I think it was like in the middle of negotiations. I don't think it ended up going down because I think the Allen and Lloyd owner came to his senses there. But yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, on a separate note, I'm kind of just talking this trade makes me just like Josh Downs that much more this year in general. I think, when Danny Dimes comes back, there's it's just Warren, Downs, and Pierce. And as I said, Pierce didn't even eclipse 50 catches last year. So
he's never eclipsed 50. He's never eclipsed 50
never.
catches.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah, he never has. And he had that big payday. So do I like Pierce still? Yes. But I mean, PPR leagues, I'm loving some Josh Downs for sure. So I guess no more Josh Downs talks. But yeah, if this comes up in your league, smash that trade for Downs. And I think that's all we got tonight. For everyone, if there's any live questions, we had a little bit of interaction on Instagram, a little bit fun live trade negotiation Ethan had there. But yeah, no, I guess keep listening. Next week should be fun. Might have a special guest coming up on the show here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned, watch our social medias. We might get a little sneak preview there. But until next time, folks, peace.